which was started or conceptualized in 1985, and it has been more than 36 years.
Is just the beginning of this entire process. This really is a very historic day for the people of Meghalaya. And as Srimati Deepika Rao was mentioning, that she didn't realize how important this was or how meaningful this was for the people of the state. For us who have been in Shillong for some time, have seen and realized that this is not just a completion of a hotel. In some sense, it's kind of a positive hope and a kind of a message, a kind of really a challenge for us, which we overcame. And really, it's very difficult for somebody who has not been associated with this project to realize that. But it's not a completion of a hotel. It's really, as I said, it's the entire hope that we can do things that sometimes was thought that would not happen. So I think it's a very, very positive message that comes out of what we are doing today. It's much bigger than just a hotel. And from the beginning, why we started the functioning of our government in 2018, we have been focusing on a lot of specific projects and ideas and issues that have been pending for a very long time. And it has been our endeavor as a government to ensure that things that people felt could not be done and somehow had given up hope that it will never be touched or never been done or never will be done, it was our endeavor to show that, well, we can do it and we will do it. And this is another example of that determination, I should say, in us, to not give up and to continue doing things. We have faced number of challenges, not just in this hotel, but as I said, this hotel can be a story of the state in one way, that we have faced so many challenges, but yet we consistently went ahead. We were committed to the cause. We were focused on what we were doing. We were monitoring things, and we are finally here to see that this hotel is complete. So it's really in a way, a nutshell of, even the story of the state in one way, that we can say that the challenges we faced, yet we have overcome those challenges. And today we are here because of the efforts put in by everybody. And Dr. Vijay was absolutely correct in saying that everybody sitting in this room has contributed in one way or the other to making sure that this hotel has reached where it is. We may have played a part in pushing things at the right time with the right effort and monitoring things, but I think everybody has done their part and their role. Our chief secretaries, Mr. Rao is there, Mr. Thank You is there, Kong Rebecca is here, all the past MDs who have been here, by Hector, Mr. Prashant Nayak, Kong Rebecca, of course, and of course our chief secretary himself. So therefore, a lot of work has gone into this, and I'm sure that each one sitting in this room, those who have been directly involved in this project, of course you feel the sense of satisfaction. But I think all of us who cross this road every day, seeing this building every day, also have a sense of satisfaction that finally, that there is something happening. And it's as I think Mr. CM Sangma had said, it's almost like a relief, on the shoulder that one more thing done. Many more to go, but at least we have got another step forward, and we have at least completed one more project that was really pending for a very long time. So that aside, I think what is important is how do we move forward? And that is really the real reason why we are here today. And as Dr. Vijay has mentioned, that one thing that has been driving us from day one is our desire to be better than what we are today. Our desire to be at the top. And, we always felt, I should say, that being a small state, being a tribal, largely a tribal state, but largely tribal population, sense of feeling that we cannot be in that top league has always been there in our mindset that has kind of inhibited the growth potential that we had. So it was very crucial for us to ensure that the change in the mindset should be there. And I think that critical change in the mindset is what we have managed to put into the system, is what I would want to say very proudly today, is that we are actually today consistently I would say, that we are being able to make a difference in different departments. I was telling a lot of people that, well, if we have been doing well in one department, that means that the concerned official or the concerned person there or some luck has allowed us to do well in the department. But when you see consistently that we become the best in vaccination, we become one of the best in e-governance, we become one of the best in tourism, we become one of the best in the startups, that means that there is something that's going well in the overall governance process that is allowing us to do well in all the fields. And it started off with this entire mindset to be at the top. And I keep repeating this all the time, and a lot of people used to laugh also at times, saying that, well, we are at the bottom, how do we expect to get at the top? And we always say that, well, it starts with that thought and the change in the mindset that we can do it and we will do it. And I think that change in the mindset is what has driven us. And here we are today, inaugurating this place with a much larger goal. This is just one piece of the entire picture that you are seeing. This is not even a piece of the picture, it's just one piece of it. Because the idea, as a lot of people have mentioned, we are looking at high-end tourism. You see, we are looking at ensuring that we are able to create a proper ecosystem. See, tourism is not about a hotel. Tourism is not just about, a nice destination or a nice waterfall. It's an entire ecosystem that you develop. It's an entire process that's put into place. It's this entire system that has to be created. You need the infrastructures that have to be there. You need the logistical support that needs to come in. You need the communication systems to be there for transportation. You need the manpower to be there, to be ready to be able to serve. You need the drivers in the taxis who are driving the people to be well trained. It's a full process and a system that has to be in place for tourism to develop. And hence, if you look at what is happening in the last 4.5 years, every effort that we've been trying to put in is adding up to this big picture, this big piece of making Meghalaya a high-end tourism destination and ensuring that we come up on the top. We always tell, and I always stress on every a meeting that I have with my tourism department, and don't take it negatively. I want to just tell it to you in a very simple way, but I'll explain it further, that it is more important, I should say, that we get 1 lakh tourists, we get one tourist who comes in and spends 1 lakh, then getting in 1 lakh tourists and each one spending 1 rupee. You see, so it's the same thing at the end of the day, but the impact is different. Idea is that's where the high-end tourism comes in. So we have 10 lakh tourists coming in today, 12 lakh tourists coming in today. If each one spends just 1 rupee, which means they stay in some other part of the northeast, they hire the car from some other part of the northeast, they pack the food from somewhere else in the northeast, they just drive up to Shillong and throw the packet and go back, well, that's not the tourism we want. So therefore, how do we create that kind of a system where a tourist will have a reason to come and stay in Shillong, will have the logistics that are there to support him, and at the same time will have the activities to know that, well, I will do this on day 1, this on day 2, this on day 3, and be able to extend the stay of the tourist from just 1 day to 5 days, 6 days. So this really is the larger goal and larger picture of what we are trying to achieve out here. And what has happened today here in Shillong is just the beginning of this entire process, or it's a part of this entire process. I'm sure I can see so many of our other friends from the hotel industry who are here. Well, we should take this in a positive way. We need to bring up the standards in every way possible. This is a positive competition that we want. We would like to see that every hotel should now compete with each other in a positive manner and become better and better at what they do. And I think it's important to realize that today, in terms of the high-end rooms, Shillong has less than 350 high-end rooms. That's it. You'll be surprised. When you go to any other part of the world, one hotel will have 2,000 rooms. Forget the whole, state. And here we are, the whole state, and we have less than 350 rooms that are of high-end value. That means that there's a huge gap between demand and supply. And hence, we really need to come together, and I would want that every other operator out here in terms of hotels are able to improve that overall standards and bring things up even in the existing hotels that we have. And I'm sure that this will be a source of inspiration for all the other hotel operators in the city as well as the whole of the state. At the same time, we, what has been mentioned earlier, that we intend to have many more of these hotels coming up. We really are focusing a lot on high-end, rooms, whether it's the projects through the New Development Bank or other World Bank projects. We are working on creating high-end infrastructure and then leasing them out to different, organizations so that they can run them. So therefore, all these kind of infrastructural investments are being made. At the same time, we also realize that while we have these high-end rooms coming up, we need the tourists also. So therefore, a lot of, talk and, discussions have been had that why all these events are being organized, why are we spending so much money on these events? Well, that's how tourism grows. One has to understand that it's not just by putting up a small poster somewhere and saying, come visit Meghalaya, or putting a photo of, some waterfall that people will start coming in. It doesn't work that way. There's a complete process in which you have to connect with the potential tourists. You have to realize, that how the tourism sector works. It's not about just putting up a poster. You have to realize that, for example, that the children, in metros, their holidays are in the month of May, June, July. So therefore, the parents who are there, who want to take their children out, say from Bombay or Delhi, they will start planning in the month of January, February for their trip in the month of May and June and July. We need to understand that we need to touch those markets. What I'm trying to tell you is that don't think that tourism industry is a very simple, basis, and we can just simply come up with marketing programs and expect tourists will come. It requires a lot of tailored approach, tailored marketing. Specific niche markets have to be targeted, and those people then have to be brought in. So therefore, there's a lot of complication that goes in. I don't have enough time right now. I think more than me, you won't have enough time and patience to listen to my long lecture on this. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the tourism sector and the goal we have is much larger and much bigger than what we're doing. So therefore, now in the next few months, you will see that we have got the Northeast Olympics happening out here. We'll have large number of guests coming here. Where will they stay? So that's when these hotels are going to come to use. And obviously, we need many more of them. We are going to have, the Cherry Blossom Festival in the biggest possible way that you can imagine. This may be one of the biggest festivals I think the entire Northeast has seen, and maybe one of the biggest festivals in the whole country. So therefore, you'll have, great tourist footfall happening. We'll have the International Film Festival happening. We'll have the Literary Festival happening. We'll have the Boat Festival happening in Umiam Lake, and then so on and so forth. So there are many such programs that are going to take place, which will ensure that the footfall increases. And all of these activities will finally lead to the tourism sector growing. And that's where we require assets like these to be created and more rooms to come in. Very soon, I'm sure some of you must have noticed, but the Northeast United now is wearing the Meghalaya Tourism logo on their shirt. And this is just a precursor to tell you that soon we'll be tying up in the long run with Northeast United. And we are working towards bringing them and shifting their base to Shillong, which means that the matches that are going to be held in the future for the Northeast United will be from Shillong. And if that works out, then you'll be actually having people and guests coming in. Just the organizers coming in will be in the numbers of 300-400 people coming in. They'll require places to stay. We have larger goals in that, but I don't want to go into details. But these are kind of all the different programs which are connecting the dots and creating the big picture that I am telling you about tourism. And hence, in my beginning of my speech, I said that there's a lot to say, but I don't think I can go into everything. But that's how it will be. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what we are working on, and to tell you that it's not that we just wanted to complete this for the sake of completing it. This hotel not only is a message about a positive hope that we have, that even long pending projects can be completed, but it is also about the larger picture of the bigger aspect of tourism and how we plan to take the tourism sector forward. Why tourism? Well, very simple. This hotel, as we move along, and on the calculations that we have made, the lease that has been given to the concerned person, that based on that lease, in the next 30 years, MTDC is expected to get more than 100 crores in terms of revenue by leasing out this hotel. That money will be more or less enough to make MTDC financially stable. On an average, we expect in the next 30 years, if above average room occupancy is there, that we expect that the revenue that we're going to get in terms of our GST taxes will be over 500 crores just from this hotel alone. Now, these are the kind of numbers that you're looking at, which normally, public will not relate to. But this is what really is, ticking the entire process. And this is how we are planning things forward. We have more than 100 jobs that have been created, and 80-90% of them are all local people out here. All our local boys and girls who have got the job. So many of them have been trained, and they had to go to other places to work. Finally, they have a place here itself at home to be able to work. And this is the direct employment we're talking about. What about the indirect employment in terms of the taxis that will require the drivers, the different food supplies that will require? It's unending. So one has to realize why tourism is so important. The kind of multiplier effect that tourism has on the economy is like no other sector. The kind of growth that we see. For the economy to grow, either you need investments coming in, either you need government spending to increase from outside, or you need tourism to come in for the money to flow. So that money then will further roll in the economy, and then the other people will benefit out of it. So this economic cycle is very crucial for us to be able to grow as a state. And therefore, the multiplier effect that tourism has is like no other sector. And that is the reason why we are blessed to have beautiful locations, very, very strong culture. We should ensure that we as a government are able to create the correct policies and create the right infrastructure and the ecosystem. The word is ecosystem. To create the right ecosystem for all these things to thrive and to move forward and grow. Last, just before I conclude, I would like to also request Taj as well as Vivanta Group, the IHCL Group, and all the other hotels out here. I think it's important that as a hotel and as one of the very important parts of the tourism sector, you need to make the visits of the tourists, you have to make them special. And you can only make them special by ensuring that you give them something that they'll remember. And one of the ways to do that is to connect with the culture or the food or the different aspects of that particular state. And hence, I've been working very hard, but of course, COVID has come in between. We could not move forward. But I would like to see that in the coming days, if our hotels can directly tie up with different villages, different self-help groups, take the products from them. For example, the biscuits that are made by the self-help groups. Today, we have a very large jackfruit mission going on. Why can't we have the menus based on the jackfruit that we have, the products we make? Why can't Vivanta start off by saying that we only procure biscuits from these self-help groups of Meghalaya and showcase their products, let the people connect that every time they take a bite into the biscuit, they remember that this is being made by the self-help groups, the women's self-help groups. As I say, let there be a story behind everything. The cloth they pick up, let there be a story behind it. The towel they use, let there be a story behind it. The biscuit they eat, let there be a story behind it. That really will make it special for the tourist in the larger long term. And I think it's important that the hotels play a very important part in that. I'm not saying do everything from here. I understand that you have to manage your cost, you have to manage your logistics, supplies, all these things are important. But start somewhere. Start somewhere. Maybe small, but start somewhere. And I think if this kind of sourcing can then start and work out in the long run, you are going to see a transformation in the economic system. And for the benefit of everybody, we have created 45,000 self-help groups now in the state. So we just want you to connect to any of these 45,000 groups. All of them are doing a great job. They're making turmeric powder, they're making different jackfruit products, they're making chips made out of banana, and different products that are there. We have, the biryani from jackfruit, which is the vegans biryani as they call it. So many things, products are being made today. I think it'll be great if the hotels and the tourism sector can then link up with the self-help groups and the farmers, and then we will be able to unlock this entire potential that is there, and a brand new picture will come out in front of you. And that's really going to be the game changer in the long run. And that's really one of the goals with which we are working. We have created these different institutional setups and systems in different locations. We're moving the tourism department forward. Now, if we're able to connect these two dots, I think it's going to create a huge opportunity for our people. So friends, I don't want to take much more time. I can keep going on, as you're aware. But of course, there's a limited time for everything. But once again, I would like to congratulate the MTDC under the chairmanship of Mr. Saleng A. Sangma and the MD for the wonderful work that has been done. I would like to congratulate the SM group, because I think I was going into the rooms and it did not take me too much of time to realize that there was a lot of English architecture to this entire, so I told them that this brick structure is very British. And then they told me, yes, absolutely, because this is Scotland of the East. So we wanted the looks and the feel of the rooms also to be very British type, and that's why they said that, we got designs made specifically that would be very related to British design, Scottish design. And so these are kind of efforts that have gone in, which some of you may have noticed and some of you may not have noticed. But that's what SM Group did, and they invested and they put this entire design into it and has made it a very special hotel. And that's the reason why Honorable Minister, as he was mentioning, that he felt the design was different. It is different because it has been made with this entire thought and idea of the Scotland of the East, and therefore the designs also are going in that line. So I congratulate the SM Group also for all their efforts. I congratulate Dr. Vijay and his team, who have worked very hard. Of course, as he mentioned, that we kept pushing, but there's only a limit to which we can push. Because even if you push, if things don't want to move, then they won't move. But luckily, we have a good team that requires only a gentle push and things move. So that is helpful. But I congratulate Dr. Vijay and the entire team of Tourism Department, who have really worked very hard to make this happen. I also thank the IHCL, especially our Executive Vice President, who has come for the first time to Shillong, in fact, to Northeast. And I must say that's very unfair. I'm disappointed. But I hope you'll make that up in the next 6 months by coming 6 times. So therefore, we do expect that you will be here more often. As you correctly said, that the Northeast has a huge potential. And I've been speaking to your MD, who is a good friend of mine. We met about 4 or 5 years back on some particular occasion. And from that day onwards, we have maintained contact with him. He's a very, very down-to-earth person and very friendly person. And he was supposed to be here, but he got other appointments, I'm aware. So he has been always sharing with me his entire idea of how he feels that different groups of your different brands, of your group can fit into the entire space out here, and that you have a big plan. But for that plan to happen, you'll have to come more often. Yeah. So therefore, I hope that you keep coming. I'm not just talking about Shillong, I'm talking about Northeast as a whole. And I think if that can happen, then we can sell the Northeast as a destination to the rest of the country and the world. And that's how it will work. If we try to limit ourselves to saying that only Shillong, then we are limiting the market. Though we may be promoting Shillong, but we're missing out the larger picture. And for me, I would like to create that larger picture of the Northeast and rather have 100 million tourists coming into Northeast than rather than having just 2 million tourists coming into Shillong. So I think if the pie becomes bigger and we're able to get more tourists coming in, then obviously Shillong also will benefit much more. So therefore, roles of larger, hotels like yours are very important, and I'm happy that you have taken this initiative, and I can assure you of full support from the government side in every way possible to ensure that things run smoothly here. And last but not the least, I would like to thank our tourism minister, who has been very instrumental in ensuring that all the directions that have been decided by the cabinet and by me and our team, that he has ensured that all the implementation went on time. Of course, we kept seeing the postponement also happening, but I guess I was telling our friends from the press who kept asking me, well, again delay. I said, you waited 36 years, just wait for another 2 weeks, don't worry. So therefore, I'm glad that it's finally done and we are here today. And I really, once again, thank each and every one for this beautiful program. And once again, I wish the entire team of IHCL and the entire team of SM Group and the MTDC the very best for the future.
Is not the end of the story.